Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of my YouTube channel Data Science with Sam. In today's video, I'll talk about how to perform logistic regression using R programming language. As you remember, in my previous video, I talked about a brief overview of logistic regression. What is logistic regression? How it differs from linear regression? What is the underlying mechanism of logistic regression, whether it's sigmoid function or something else? Decision boundary. So these are the main topics that I covered in my previous video. Now let's see how we can apply that logistic regression mechanism to classify an email dataset and find out which email is spam or non-spam for your data science work. So let's get started. So for this particular exercise, I'm going to use a spam dataset inherited from the R library kernel lab. So let's load the dataset first. So this dataset contains around 4,600 emails classified as spam or non-spam. There are around 57 exploratory variables there, which are indicating the frequency of different special characters, alphabets. Based on that, they classify the emails as spam or non-spam. So let's check out the dataset. As you can see, there are multiple variables up there. So let's move on to the tail end of the data set. The final column type signifies that whether that email is spam or non-spam. So in our predictive model, we are going to actually predict that the emails that we're going to pass into our model should be classified as spam or non-spam based on the data. Now we're going to actually subset the features because we are not going to use all the columns existed in the spam dataset. We're only going to use the final 9 or 10 columns based on frequency of some capital letters or some characters. We're going to determine whether the email is spam or non-spam. So after we subset the features from the original dataset, we are going to categorize the response variable. So the response variable is nothing but the type column. So the type column contains the categorical value as spam, non-spam. We're converting that to numerical value because our model only accepts the numerical value as a response variable. So the next step, we are going to actually make sure that the categorical variables are factors, because for logistic regression, all the categorical or the output variables should be factors. And the next step is to build the model. So we are going to use our stats package, and there is an inbuilt model called GLM that is very popular for logistic regression purpose. So we're going to use GLM model to build our logistic regression package for classifying the spam and non-spam type. The next step is once you build the model, then you need to predict the outcome. So predict the outcome means you've got to predict the probability of your output variable that should be classified as spam or non-spam. So based on the probability value, we'll determine that. So now you have to set up a kind of a threshold value, okay? Because based on the threshold value, the probability will go either way, right? So like suppose for this particular case, if my decision boundary or the threshold value is 0.5, so that means if for any email, if the Y predictor value is beyond 0. Or above 0.5, then the email should be classified as spam. But if the value is below 0.5, then the email will be classified as non-spam. So based on this decision boundary or threshold value, we will predict the type of the emails. So in that case, I'm going to set the decision boundary or threshold value as 0.5, and then after that, I predict the final value based on that decision boundary. Okay, so now I kind of predicted all the emails. So now let's check the prediction. So as you can see, the first 3 emails classified as spam because they kind of produce one outcome. If the value is 1, that means the email is spam, as I already mentioned before. And if the value is 0, that means these are like a non-spam. So that's how we can actually predict email type, whether it's spam, non-spam. So this is a classical example of classical regression model, like how we can build a logistic regression model and then apply that on a spam data set to determine whether email is spam or not spam. Now, if you want to check the accuracy of your model, what you can do, you can basically compare your predicted value with the original type column value. So that's how you can determine the accuracy of your model. Validating model accuracy is an integral part of data science work, but I'm not going to go into details of how you can perform accuracy on your logistic regression model. Some future series will definitely cover that. But today's video gives you a notion of how you can build a simple classification model to predict whether email is spam or not spam. You can apply the similar technique to build another classification models based on various data sets. In my next video, I'll talk about the similar technique using a different programming language, Python. So stay tuned for that, and also go through some of the learning materials that I shared in the video contents. So till then, goodbye.